When the average person hears customer service, they automatically assume that we're talking about putting out fires and dealing with problems. But customer service isn't always about dealing with problems, and that's something that we ought to come to terms with in the wedding and the event space. Customer service is also about ensuring customer satisfaction. The reason why it's important for those of us who are wedding photographers, wedding decor people, and planners to get this distinction, if you can put it that way, is because since most of us assume that customer service is all about putting out fires, then if we don't have any fires blowing up in our faces, then we assume that the customer service game is on point because there hasn't been any obvious need to go in and wade into dissatisfaction, settle quarrels, and things of that nature. So the fact that you're not putting out fires doesn't necessarily mean that your customer service process is on point. So there's another prong of customer service, and that is customer satisfaction. So I guess a better way of trying to understand it would be to look at our brothers and sisters in other industries, for instance, in the hospitality business. So the customer service department in Hilton Hotel or I don't know, the Friendly Hotel down the street isn't just there to just deal with issues of when customers complain because the food was cold or because they didn't have any clean towels. But the function of the customer service department is also to reach out proactively to be sure that everybody was happy, everybody was okay, and this is the kind of the spirit that is behind all this customer satisfaction indexes and surveys and all those things that are currently all the rage now in the West. That's in Western Europe and North America. So it's pretty much the same philosophy, and that's the same approach that we ought to adopt in our businesses. So we should make it a good habit to reach out from time to time, most especially after the sale is done. So for those of us who are wedding photographers, after we have delivered the wedding album, it doesn't have to be immediately that same day. Just pick a cadence that works for you, whether you call back 2 days later, a week later, but it has to be reasonably close to when you finished with delivery. So it'll be a good idea to get into the habit of reaching out to people to be sure that everybody was okay, that everybody is okay rather with the quality of deliverables and how things were executed. So if you're a wedding planner or if you're a decor person, there'll be questions around specific ideas that the bride wanted to try out, to make her wedding pop. For instance, I think close to 10 years ago, I think chocolate fountains were a thing. And judging from pictures, it was like a race to see who could build the highest tier of a chocolate fountain, at least in Lagos and Abuja anyway. So you'd see a 2-tier chocolate fountain and then a 3-tier and then a 4-tier. I think I saw a 5-tier one. So, you'd reach out to ask those sorts of questions. I hope you're happy with everything. Everything went out, and then these ideas that we tried to make your wedding pop, whether it's a chocolate fountain or whether it's the Parisian theme wedding or whatever it is, just reach out. Find out that everybody is happy with the deliverables, all the ideas that you guys came up with to try and bring the bride and the groom's perfect vision to fruition. So you reach out, be sure that everybody is happy. If you're dealing with a problem-solving paradigm like we explored yesterday, then it's only by solving those problems that you're going to be able to take the next step towards getting repeat business and referrals. And if you're also looking at this customer satisfaction paradigm, the process is the same. If you're absolutely sure that everybody is happy, it is then that you're going to be able to make a play for repeat business and referrals as well. But I guess the chief benefit of why I advocate for this practice is because ultimately we're going to find out a lot about what our USP is, our unique selling point, as we like to say here in Nigeria, or our key differentiator. Because like I've spoken about time and time on the podcast, for me, I assume that my key differentiator was that I will not do Photoshop and I do not like excessive editing. But I found out that actually it's my professionalism, the whole thing about being on point, being reliable, follow through, all those things, all the things around business delivery actually turned out to be the much more important parts about what makes me different and stand apart from other photographers. So if you engage in this practice, you will very quickly find out what it is that it is your USP, and you're going to know what it is that you should dial into in your sales and in your marketing and promotions. Because if you find out, like I did, that people don't really come to you because of your lack of Photoshop or because of your superabundance in Photoshop skills, but rather because they think you're, I don't know, a nice guy or whatever, then that is exactly the sort of thing that you should play up in your advertising, that you are the nicest photographer in the world to work with. And it's the same thing if you are um, a wedding planner or a decor person, because there are some wedding planners that make it a point to advertise the how do I put it? To advertise the much more sophisticated or much more high-end orientation of their services. But having worked with a couple, I get a sense that it's what is actually key in driving the experience forward is something else. As a matter of fact, I think perhaps it'll be a good idea for me to get one of those wedding planners over on the podcast so that we can discuss and then we'll be able to flesh out the ideas in a much more clearer way instead of me having to refer to this thing in a veiled way. But anyway, bottom line, if you ask these questions, you're going to figure out what your key differentiator is, and that is the reason why you should look at customer service not just as a problem-solving activity, but also as a customer satisfaction process as well. So thank you very much for listening to the Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry podcast. I'm your host, Abuja-based sales consultant and event media professional, Tabishima Ayede. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next recording.